The Nigerian Senate has approved a bill for second reading aimed at documenting and safeguarding domestic workers and their employers nationwide. The bill's sponsor, Senator Hussaini Babangida, presented the lead debate during Wednesday's plenary session. Senator Babangida highlighted that many domestic workers in Nigeria are either unregistered or not operating in accordance with labor laws. He also pointed out the absence of comprehensive legislation addressing the different categories of domestic workers, including non-Nigerians.
Mr. President, over the years, our nation has experienced an increase in the incidence of assaults and abuse of domestic workers by their employers or hosts. These abuses ranges from slave labor, physical abuse, and sexual abuse, to mention a few. The stories are gory, traumatic, and mind-boggling, especially against the background that these domestic workers exist in the informal sector. They are unionists and they do not have a collective platform to speak for themselves, and therefore remain ostensibly vulnerable and helpless. On the other side of the coin is the rise in the state of complicity of crimes committed by domestic workers, mostly in connivance with other criminal elements of society against their employers or hosts.
During deliberations, several lawmakers voiced their support for the bill, citing its timely nature in light of the increase in reports of abuse and attacks involving domestic workers.
Yes, it is the responsibility of the Ministry of Labour and Productivity to look at the issue of domestic workers and the rest of things like this, which is why you are in collaboration with them by bringing this forward.
It is very, very timely and appropriate. A few months ago, I was the Minister for Labour and Employment. And a few months, I represented the President at the International Labour Organization in Geneva. Part of the focus of deliberations were not only on the rights of workers, but on the rights for decent work.
As a Senate or as a National Assembly, if we can regulate this, it will also reduce all these cases where you see employers refusing to give the rights that's supposed to be given to these domestic workers. And their fundamental rights are always abused. So I think there will be need for us to look at it based on this bill and regulate it. Impose necessary fines, impose necessary punishment for any abuse. And in line with that, at least from being domestic staff, you'll be able to know that you have your own rights as a citizen of this country.
Senator Adams Oshomole from Edo North highlighted the bill's dual focus on safeguarding the rights of domestic workers while also providing assurances for their employers.
There was a time I employ people, I call them security guide. And I have no idea where they come from. And season after season, they just inform me they are bringing their brother to replace them. They go back to farm and then they come back. Until we began to witness some security challenges arising from the behavior of some of our domestic staff. Some of us employ security people that we don't even know. So I think this is to assist us to think again, and in fact to compel everyone to ensure that when you do employ, that it is documented, and that the Ministry of Labour has responsibility to document, to publish, and to monitor what goes on.
Following the debates, Senate President Godswill Akpabio referred the bill to the Senate Committee on Labour and Productivity for further scrutiny. The committee has been tasked with reviewing the bill and proposing any necessary amendments before reporting back to the Senate within 4 weeks.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the documentation and protection of domestic workers and employees and for other matters connected therewith, 2024, SB 272, second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Senate Committee on Labor and Productivity to report back to the Senate in 4 weeks.
If eventually passed into law by the National Assembly and signed by the President, the bill promises to establish a comprehensive legal framework aimed at curbing incidents of assaults, exploitation, and other forms of abuse experienced by domestic workers in Nigeria.